It's time now for the Todd Leonard Show. Leave those negative stories behind as we focus on the positive and hear from those who give back and help others. Let's start your day with some inspirational stories. Now, here's your host, Todd Leonard.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I want to wish everyone a happy Father's Day. You know, today is a special day for all the dads, all the families out there. And I reflect very often about my late father. He lost a courageous battle of pancreatic cancer in 2009. And I think about the life he lived and the man he was. And I do my very best to try to make my dad proud. And I think about all the wonderful things he taught me in his wonderful life. He was a caring guy. He was really generous. And he had that magic. He could walk into a room and light it up. And he had a huge heart. And even though he was very, very ill, unfortunately, with pancreatic cancer, he gave people hope. I can remember like it was yesterday. We were at the Carol Simon Cancer Center right there in Morristown, New Jersey. And there would be a support group. And my dad would walk around the room with his captain's hat on and would give everybody hope. And he gave me hope. And it made me so proud because I knew the battle my dad was in, but he was a fighter. And he was the kind of man that you'd always want to be. And I just feel very blessed. I'm a father now, and I do my best to try to carry on that tradition. So today we have a very special show. We have my great friend Billy Laufer is joining us today with his daughter, Alexis Laufer. And we actually found out recently, Billy shared with me, he has a son, Matthew Berger, who's going to be calling into the station to tell us about this wonderful story they have, how they found each other after all these years. Matthew, a man, he's going to be 49 years old. My handsome friend Billy Laufer just turned recently 75, and his wonderful daughter Alexis. And we're going to explore fatherhood and the father's love. Remember to follow us on YouTube, subscribe, and also like and follow us on Facebook. Billy, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Todd?
I'm doing wonderful.
Good.
I know you have a golf game coming up later today, so thank you for coming on Father's Day.
Well, it's Father's Day. You're supposed to be able to do what you want.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell my wife that. Yeah. And Alexis, happy Father's Day to you as well.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. And Matthew, are you with us today?
I am with you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Matthew. And thank you so much for, calling into the station. It means a lot on Father's Day. Alexis, just a little closer to the mic. Thank you. So, Matthew, this Father's Day is a really important day for all of us. And when I heard that you were going to come on the journey of giving back and going to share with us your story and Billy's story and Alexis' story, it meant so much because, fatherhood is something I appreciate more and more now, the fact that I'm a father and I'm so blessed with two young boys who light up my heart, and it makes me realize there's more than just life working. And with my wife, it's about raising my kids. Matthew, for the listeners, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am 49 years old right now. I have three wonderful children. I have two children that are twins, boy, girl, Jonas and Danica, and they're going to be 13 this July and have a B'nai Mitzvah in October. And I have a soon-to-be 18-year-old son, Noah, and he is off to BU very, very shortly. So he's enjoying his last summer home. And I myself went to Syracuse University for communications. I got my MBA from Seton Hall and in business and marketing. And somehow I'm in the insurance industry now and having a great run with it. So very exciting things, but that's a little bit about me. I love sports and spending time with the kids and going to the beach. I'm at the beach right now for Father's Day down in Margate, New Jersey. So couldn't be live in studio. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Matthew, I'm just going to put my headset on to be candid with you. It's a little hard to hear through the microphones. So if I can get these things going here. Well, so Matthew, I understand you went to the Syracuse University.
I did. I went to Syracuse, Orangeman, and great school, lots of fun, and got to meet some great people that are still very close friends and business partners, for sure.
Matthew?
Yes.
Thank you. So I also went to the CUSE. I have a wonderful experience at Syracuse University. So, Billy, I want to go over a little bit with you Father's Day because of the fact that when I had John last year, you talked about your dad was a war hero and what a wonderful person he was. What does Father's Day mean to you?
You know, it's interesting when I heard you describe your father. It sounds like we come from the same past because our dads were what they call the Great Generation. And if I had to explain my dad, it's almost like listening to you describing your dad. He was my idol, my mentor, everything in the world. He was like the greatest man that I ever met. He passed away about 15 years ago, cancer, similar. And, you know, I attribute his qualities to what the qualities that I have in my life and how I've been taught and learned how to bring up a family and how to love my family and how to be a good dad, how to make sure that family always comes first. You know, and as I've gotten older, my priorities, and you people who are getting older will see, I turned 75 this year, is your priorities change. You don't really care that much about not much, but your law practice becomes secondary. Your golf game, I hate to say it, becomes secondary, and your family rises to the top, as it always should be. And I have focused on that, and I'm a fortunate man. I have 4 beautiful, wonderful daughters, all that love each other and get along with each other and are part of our family on a daily basis. I'm blessed because they all live within 5-6 miles of my home in Morristown. And I have 8 delicious grandchildren, and 1 coming up in September. And we'll segue into this, but I have 4 daughters, and I have 8 grandchildren, which are 12, and 11 out of the 12 are girls. I have 1 little grandson, and I mean, it was always to the point where Laufer, you can't have a boy, you can't have a son, and we're going to talk about how those things have changed, and my whole attitude on it has changed.
Yeah, it's a blessing. You're a wonderful person, Billy. You're an accomplished matrimonial lawyer right here in Morristown, and I know your daughter Alexis was kind enough to join us today. Another successful lawyer in your firm, a partner there. And Alexis, for you, today's Father's Day. It's an important day. Your dad obviously is still with us, which is a blessing. What has your father meant to you in your life?
Well, my dad has always been my number 1 role model with my mother. They raised all of us, and they really, like my dad's talking about my grandfather, I mean, they've instilled the values of family first, always. They've kept my sisters and I close over the years, and other people always comment, how come your family's so close? How come your family's so close? And it's because of my parents. It's because of my mom and my dad. They always made sure we did family vacations together, no matter what age. So it kind of took us all out of the crazy mix of everyday life and put us all in the same hotel room or wherever we went for a week at a time. And that really bonded us. And to this day, we all stayed close. We're all within, 20 minutes of each other max. And, just watching my father, which he learned from his father, and how they think of family, that, that stays with me. And I want that for my children, too.
Absolutely. I mean, I know how important family is. As I've gotten older, I appreciate more and more the importance of family and about keeping everybody together and enjoying the moments. Matthew, what's your perspective? So I understand that you recently found out that Billy is your father.
Yes, for sure. And, I obviously wasn't raised in that household at all. But family's super important to everything I do. I have my kids down here for Father's Day. And, the same thing. It's making sure I spend time with my kids and finding out who my biological father was and having very similar qualities is just interesting to see the similarities and being able to know that I have 4 sisters and lots of nieces and nephew and another on the way. And, very, very, very exciting and fun, and to see how everyone interacts as a family is just amazing. And trying to do the same thing here on my end and making sure we always create those moments and have those family moments more than anything else. So, sitting back and getting to now watch and see how everybody interacts, very similar dynamic. So it's super interesting and exciting and fun, and able to get extra guidance from lots of other people, and advice is also very, very amazing.
Yeah, so Matthew, if I may, so one of the things that, was the fascinating story is how you found out Billy was your dad, because one of the things that I found incredible and so kind of poignant on Father's Day is that you found out much later in life that you had a father that is Billy Laufer, who's a wonderful person. Can you walk us through, can you tell us how that all kind of happened?
I believe years before, I had done a 23andMe that my son, Noah, my oldest son, had gotten as a Hanukkah present. And we had done it, and Noah wanted to hopefully find out. He had a great diverse background, and found out that on my side I was 99.9% Ashkenazi Jew, and that his other side had very little on it, so it was quite uneventful. And I think a year or two later, Billy did a 23andMe and reached out to us over the Connect and said, I think I'm your grandfather and your father. Would you like to meet? And COVID hit, and I had a sick grandmother and couldn't really get out for a couple years. And finally, towards the end of COVID, we were able to set up a meeting, and it was quite an amazing experience. So very unique, and it was very warm and welcoming, and it was a great initial meeting. And since then, I've been able to be at many family functions and take vacations and have many joyous moments in a short period of time. Yeah,
it's an amazing story. And Alexis, how did this all happen that you guys found out that your dad had a son?
Well, so I'm the oldest of 4 girls. And my whole life, I was like, I want a brother, and I wanted an older brother specifically, to beat everyone up for me if they messed with me. And I didn't have that. So we give our father, actually for Father's Day, a gift one year, 23andMe. I think he kept it in the drawer for a while, and he eventually opened it up and sent it in, and that was it. And then COVID hit, and I guess he got bored, and he logged on to this thing, and he said, oh my gosh, it says I have a son. And I think we were all sitting there together, in fact, because our family kind of quarantined ourselves so we could be together during the lockdown. And so all of us, it was kind of crazy. We're in my parents' house, and he says this out loud. Oh, I have a son. It says on 23andMe. And we're all, what? And of course, my mother says, well, when was he conceived?
It's an investigation.
That was the first question.
Yeah, they asked me if I got results, and I said, they never sent me anything. I'm not that tech as the younger guys are. No, you got to go on your computer, Dad. And sure enough, top line, Matthew Berger, 49-point-something% your DNA biological son. I'm thinking out of 100. It's out of 50, And they're all with me. We're all together when we see this revelation.
Right. So then they start communicating, and it turns out that, the answer to my mother's question was, there was no infidelity. It was before they had even met.
Yeah, thank God.
But,
oh, God, yeah.
So Angie embraced it because it was even before I met her.
Right. Yeah. And she would have anyway. I mean, she, so we're all excited. We're like, when do we get to meet him? And so my dad ended up meeting with Matthew first before we all did, because we're a pretty big group. I think there's like 22 of us all combined with all the kids. And then we all got the chance to meet Matthew as well over, I think it was summer of 2021 was the first time we all met. And it was just really cool. And he's cool. Matthew's awesome.
So, you're a handsome devil. So, Matthew, when you found out, though, what was your family's reaction with your beautiful kids? What was going on? What was going through your mind?
For us, they were excited that we have, I'm an only child. I was raised an only child, so I had always wanted, specifically sisters, which is funny. I don't know why I never wanted a girl brother, but I specifically remember going to school and asking when you sit on Santa's lap back in the day and asking what you want. I said I want a sister for Christmas. I was Jewish, and he said you have to ask your mom for that one. And it never happened. So I was ecstatic to know, and my children were super excited. We went down to the beach and have had a couple visits, but everyone was really excited, and it's still really, we haven't had a lot of chance to interact, but they're always asking questions and wanting to visit. And so there's a lot of excitement around the children and having cousins and just the whole family atmosphere, because we really love family, and to see how their family operates and gets along. I think they're excited to be a part of that as well. And Danica has 2 brothers, so to know there's lots of girls that she's able to play with, she's super excited. And hopefully this summer everyone will get down and meet each other and have some fun together. But certainly lots of excitement. And for me, to get to know my biological father, who I thought my biological father wasn't the best person. So to know that I have a good background is refreshing and nice, and just an amazing experience for everyone. Everyone's super excited, and I have to say, Angela's super welcoming to everyone as well. She's been amazing, and really, really a great family atmosphere all around.
Yeah, you're talking about Billy's wife.
Yeah. I just want to say one thing, which is something that always stands out with me. The first time Matthew and I met, right? Matthew is with Aflac. He's a big shot over at Aflac. And you meet your son. How's he doing? So we met at his, he has an office in Fairfield, a branch office, and we met at a little restaurant there. So I pull up in my car, and next thing, this Tesla pulls up next to me, and out steps Matthew. I said, he's doing pretty good, I guess. He's got a nice Tesla. He's got a branch office here. He's a big shot at Aflac. So we sat down and we had lunch together in this little restaurant, because it was right after COVID. And we talked for an hour or so. And then we were leaving. I'll never forget this. I don't know if I've ever said this to Matthew. We walked out and we looked at each other, and I said, I can't wait till we meet again. It was so wonderful and endearing to meet you. And I went to hold out my hand to shake his hand. And Matthew looked at me, and he looked at me, and he gave me a hug. Like, put your hand down. He gave me a hug, and it was a long time before that hug ended, and that was pretty special to me. Matthew, my left-handed son, nobody's lefty but me, good ball player like his dad. And we look alike, sort of, And my daughters always comment when they're with him that, Matthew, that some of his mannerisms, are similar to mine, and it's pretty special. So he's been ingrained in our family, and the only regret that I have is that I didn't know him sooner.
Yeah,
and wasn't part of his past, It's
a beautiful story. Matthew, one of the things, in life, because it is mysterious, you never really know, is to reflect on this. You're 49, right?
Yes, 49 years old. I'll be 49 September 22nd. So
let's not rush it. I'm born on the 23rd, so I'm a little older, but I can't tell you my age. I'm like Zsa Zsa Gabor. I don't like to talk about my age. But I wanted to ask you, going through life and not knowing who your biological father was, have you reflected on that now that do you feel more complete? I mean, what goes through your mind, like reflecting on it?
Yeah, I never knew who my biological father was, but I was adopted at age 4 and raised by Roger Berger, and I had a pretty good childhood, so I never really was super curious, because I really had a pretty good upbringing. I had a mother and a father that were constant and at everything, and were able to send me to Syracuse and support me through all of that. So, I was always told, though, that my biological father was this bad person and all this stuff, and who he, and all that. And so, to know that I don't have that in my genes is very refreshing. And now to know, and as Billy said, and my father said, just to see the similarities, and to look at the mannerisms and to be able to see similarities in my sisters and watch their children is just a wonderful thing, because I was raised as an only child, and to have an instant family and to have people to go to just for advice as well is amazing, and to watch them get to raise their children is great for me. So, to get to see your biological background without knowing for 49 years or having a misconception is really, really amazing. And to get to learn and try to soak it all in and catch up for lost time and is really important. And just to get to know everyone really well as people.
Yeah, one of the things is, because the Laufers are wonderful, beautiful people, is how welcoming they've been. Alexis, I understand, I hate to say women's age. Am I allowed to say your age? I know
you're allowed. It's
right.
Okay.
I'll get myself in trouble. Your dad's a big golfer. I was joking over there with one of those hybrids, one of those new stealth hybrids. But no, you had a big 40th birthday, and I understand that he actually joined you guys in Napa.
Right.
Well, tell us about that. Like, how was that experience? All of a sudden, you're going through life, you and your three sisters, and then all of a sudden you find out you have a brother that you always wish you had, mm-hmm. and you're going to turn 40. And what made you decide, I want Matthew to join us?
So I'm divorced and for about 5 years, and I was turning 40, and Matthew was actually going through his own divorce at the time when we all met. And so we had a lot in common. And he has a wonderful girlfriend who had come down the shore to spend a day or so with us at my parents' shore house. And we were all kind of hanging out, my boyfriend, Matthew, and his girlfriend. I said, we're going to do this trip, I think, to Napa in February of this year. So in 2023, we just went, and you guys should come, because we don't have any other friends who are childless once in a while. And so he said, okay, we'll come. And that was it. And so we planned it together, and it was a phenomenal trip. It was right before the Super Bowl. So Matthew and Missy had to jump out and jump on a plane because they had to go see the Eagles play, because they're big Eagles fans, as is my boyfriend, actually. And we had to sit in Napa in a Eagles bar one day and not do the wineries because of it. But we ended up meeting out in Napa. We had a phenomenal time. And we had spent time together before, but it was during this trip that I was really like, this is my brother. This is my father's son to a T. I mean, they're both the most generous, outgoing, happy people, just full of love. And I mean, it's interesting to me because people say, you're born a certain way or it's the way you're raised. And Matthew wasn't around us until he was in his mid-40s. And he literally is our father to a T. And I think I think you are born with, maybe it's a mix, but a lot of his personality clearly was born with. And I don't know Matthew's mother, but he's really similar to our dad.
Yeah, pretty awesome. So, Billy also, since you're holding up so magnificently, had a recent birthday, 75, a nice milestone to say the least. And I know also Matthew joined you.
I invited only family. And of course, Matthew got the nod, and him and his girlfriend, who we love, Missy, were invited. And, he's down in Philadelphia. It was whatever. Sure enough, he shows up. Both of them show up, and it was just wonderful. I had my wife, I had my daughters, I had my son, with all their spouses, and it was a magical day. And I had a book. My daughters gave me a book, the 75th, and there's some great photographs in it of all of us, including Matthew and whatever. And it was amazing. The only bad thing I could say about Matthew is that he is a Phillies fan.
Yeah, that's what
So we got a big rivalry between the Yanks and the Phillies, but that will never change. So maybe we'll meet in the World Series someday. Who knows?
Yeah, no, I know. Matthew, I wanted to get your perspective. So the Laufers, I mean, obviously you're just getting to know them, but what was that like feeling, now part of a family that you didn't know existed? that is part of you now, and you get invited to these really monumental milestones in their lives. What was that like?
Yeah, I have to say it's pretty easy if you know the Laufers and Angela and Billy and everyone. As soon as I walked through the door the first time, everybody, you think you'd be nervous or anxious, and immediately everybody makes you feel as family, and just made it really, really easy. So it's been an amazing experience each and every time. Getting to know everyone. It's hard to, you have a lot of new people, just remembering everyone and everybody's husbands. Just everyone has been super duper welcoming and makes it so easy and really natural, right? You think there'd be awkward things, and just very natural, and like you can just see the similarities in everyone, and it's just been a wonderful experience and really made easy by everyone in the family. So, that's it. It's just really loving and warm to know the Laufers, and I think they make everybody feel that way. Even people outside of the family, everybody feels like family when you go to their house. It's warm and welcoming, and everyone is kind. So, it's just been amazing, for sure.
I want to talk just, interestingly, I was at Alexis, has a beautiful house, and I was there on Halloween, and your dad, is dressed up as one of the Yankee greats, Mickey Mantle. All right. And it was like striking because I'm like, wow, this Billy Laufer, he's really into the Yankees. And he had shared with us last year when he came on the show about going to, baseball, Yankees fantasy camp. And I know that you're a big Phillies fan, and you also love baseball. Am I right, Matthew?
I do. I have season tickets for the Phillies. I've had them in my family since they were in Connie Mack. So we were in Connie Mack, the vet. Now we're in Citizens Bank. I've done the fantasy camp 5 or 6 times, I believe. I used to do it when I was a little younger. And, certainly love baseball. I'm friends with some of the old-time Phillies. I try to get around to all the events. So I just did one at auction where my kid's going to shoot hot dogs with the Philly Fanatic at a game this season into the stands. So it's definitely a super fan, and love it. Love baseball. Love going to the games. I love that they're a little bit shorter now, so that's also a little bit nicer to make it out to a couple extra games this year, and hoping to catch a game with my father and my sisters, and again, love to get out to the ballpark for sure.
Yeah, what's only interesting and striking is you both love baseball. Billy was an accomplished baseball player. He was all-state, and he actually tried out for the big leagues, and I know he's one heck of a player, and he loved baseball. You love baseball, and I just found that interesting. Now, also, if I heard Billy correctly, you're also a southpaw? You're a lefty?
I am
both.
I play baseball righty for sure, but I do most everything else lefty.
Interesting.
I eat lefty. I write lefty, but for some reason I throw righty and I play golf righty. They probably switched me around when I was a kid. I kind of can use both hands pretty well. So,
right.
But I did not throw. I did throw in fantasy camp. All righty, though. All righty.
No problem. So, one of the things, Alexis, from your perspective, now that you had a chance to digest the fact you have a brother, how has it changed your life?
It's even hard sometimes. I think we all know that as parents ourselves, to connect with your family. I mean, even my sisters who live close by, we'll see each other. We always make an effort at least once a month or twice a month even. But I find myself reaching out to Matthew even more sometimes than my sisters, because just to check in or get advice about certain things, and we're always trying to get together and make plans. So it's a whole nother facet to my life. And I think I was saying, as adults, you only have a certain amount of time, right? Like, I don't need any more friends. I have my friends. I barely have enough time to spend with them anyway, but I do find myself reaching out to Matthew more than even people I've known for a long time, because I want to spend time with him. I want to get to know him. And when we were even out in Napa, I just felt he has this like protective vibe to him. And I was like, this is why I always wanted a brother, because I wanted, where were you? And when we first found out we had a brother, I think one of the first things that we said to our father was, we feel so bad that he didn't get to know you until now, right? Because you're such a great dad, he's the best. But you know what? No time like the present, and we all get to experience each other now, and I think that's what's important.
No question. We're going to take a short break and be back in 30 seconds with the Laufers and Billy's son, Matthew, and Alexis's brother, Matthew Berger. Please come back in 30 seconds.
The Todd Leonard Show is sponsored by the Leonard Foundation, whose mission is to support the children and families who are battling pediatric cancer and those in need of food and assistance, women's shelters, and other important social services in the community. They also proudly support those fighting pancreatic cancer. They feel it's vitally important to help those in need in our amazing community when they need us the most. Please join them in extending a helping hand and go to leonardcharity.org and donate now. Together, we can touch many lives.
Thank you for coming back. So, Billy, last time I had you on, which is a great privilege on Father's Day especially, we both had a chance to talk a little bit about, being a father and also obviously our late fathers. And you lead by example, Billy. And one of the wonderful things, you had introduced me to Rabbi Lubin, his amazing daughter, Rivka. I had them on a few weeks ago because of you and your introduction. And that's one of the mysteries of life. If you hang around good people, you sometimes meet other great people. And it's a beautiful thing that you're able to have a chance to introduce, me, these wonderful folks. I know it's important for you to give back, Billy. I know that you have informed and guided your life. I know you're wildly successful in matrimonial law. I've been practicing a very long time. Very accomplished, tremendous reputation. But why did it become important to you deciding to give back? And this show is called The Journey of Giving Back. That's why I love the show.
Well, I will say something to this, Todd. You and I have a lot in common. And you asked me that question. If I asked you that question, your answer and my answer would be very similar. All right. This program that you have right now, what it's all about, is so special. I like being here because of what you do and what you do for others and give to others. And people that are listening today and listen to you every week should embrace that, and they should give. You do this. This is pro bono for what you do, and you do it because you want people to give back to people with cancer and children and things of that nature. It's very special. I have that same thing. I have been brought up, and I am so fortunate in my life, basically to have healthy children and healthy grandchildren. And then I find Matthew and his family, and everybody seems to be doing okay. Why shouldn't we, who have been so privileged, give back to others? And I've always engaged in charities that have been focused upon children, because I think that's my heart where I want to give back, whether it's when I was the president of the DARE program in New Jersey, where there are kids, keeping them off drugs, whether it's the Goriab Children's Hospital that I've been involved in. I've been involved in the New Jersey Special Olympics, all having to do with children and giving back to children. And when you go to people and you try to have a gala or raise money and you ask them to do something for children, it's a lot easier ask, and people focus on more than giving to people that are in a different era, like older people or other charities. It's easy. It's easy. And as you know, and you heard Rabbi Lubin talk about it, he has Thanksgiving. He delivers 1,000 meals to people that are basically live by themselves, and can't go out and have a Thanksgiving dinner and can't go out and they're in their homes. And you ring their door. We do it every year. Thanksgiving, we go to him and he gives us, 50 dinners, and we go and ring a doorbell to a little old lady who lives by herself in a senior citizen's home. And you ring that doorbell and you give them a Thanksgiving dinner and they look at you and say, thank you. Who gets more pleasure out of that? They or we? We do. The giving is so rewarding, and I've instilled that in my children, and all of my kids are involved. And so Alexis is great. She's very, philanthropic. She's very involved in activities that give back, and like you. And nobody knows that, but I'm going to tell you right now that you guys need to know that we are related too. I hate to.
Let's not scare the audience.
You're not my son.
Hold on.
Distantly, but my point is that we have that in our, in our blood and in our genes, and it's a giving thing, and I instill that in my kids, and I welcome everyone to do it for their children, for their children, and it's maybe what Father's Day has something to do with that. The fact that there's nothing like being a father, and there's nothing like having children that love their dad, and for me to sit here, as far as Father's Day is concerned, this is probably the best one I've ever had so far. I have my son, who's brand new, to our family, who is saying things about me that I've never heard him say before. I mean, I'm overwhelmed by listening to what Matthew has said today. And then my daughter, about the things that she said them before, but to hear them again and to hear how it makes you feel like you've done a good job. And, when it's all said and done, isn't family what it's all about? I don't want to get grim, but if you walk through a cemetery, okay, do you ever see on a headstone, club champ? No. You ever see in there, great lawyer? No. How about loving father, good family man? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. And that's what we should all strive for.
Amen to that, Billy. You're a wonderful person. Matthew, you also have a huge heart and you also give back. Can you tell us some of the things that you've done through your life? Because I know how important it was being adopted, and you're so involved in the community as well, which I think is beautiful and wonderful. And then, Alexis touched on it. Is it genetics? Is it how you were raised? Is it a combination? But tell us a little bit about the things you've done in your life to lift up and elevate the community.
Yeah, it's and I never knew all the different charitable work and organizations that my father participated in, but very similar. All of the foundations and charities that I'm on the board or give money and time to, because I think time is just as important as money in a lot of these things. All of that I do are also related to children. I give a lot of time and focus my sales operation on children with cancer. We donate time and money to the Aflac Children's Cancer Center, which is one of the top 5 children's cancer centers in the country in Atlanta, Georgia. But they're also part of the Children's Miracle Network, which also, when they're coming out with these cutting-edge treatments, are getting them across the country to all the children that need them, including children right here at CHOP in Philadelphia. So we do a lot with the Cancer Center with our time and a lot of money. We're in the circle of care. And I actually just have a little plaque they sent me this year that they do each year. That's one of them. But then also, when I was up in Connecticut, I worked with a woman called Stacy DiSabella, who started the Harbor Lights Foundation, which was a foundation for children with autism to assimilate them into the community, and set up a board. And she was trying to get a camp off the ground to get autistic children in these summer camps with just typical children. So that way, when they were out in the communities, local communities, they would all know each other and know how to work with each other. And it went from just a little operation to them renting out baseball fields and running brew festivals and huge charitable donations coming in. And they now own their property and own the summer camp and are thriving. And when I moved to Pennsylvania here, I just got asked to help on the Haven Foundation. And it's a foundation for adoptees and foster children. So everything just based upon helping the children, because they're the future. And certainly same thing. I've been blessed to have healthy children. So, and blessed to be able to make enough money to give back. So we've tried to do that and help the younger generation, and also just take part in the community and inspire others to do the same if they don't have the money. I know even my kids will deliver food to senior citizens that can't make it out to get their food and help box it up. And they really enjoy doing that and just trying to instill in them to take care of the people that will eventually or have taken care of you.
So, Alexis, I mean, I don't want to leave you out because I know you've been involved in the Women's Club and done so many wonderful things. Tell us a little bit about the things that you've done over the years to lift up the community, make the world better, because, you know, your dad is a shining example. And I always believe, you know, if a dad or mom is leading by example, the kids watch. Words are words, but actions really is the rubber hitting the pavement. What about you?
Well, you know, it's first of all, I think it's impressive that you have these two men here on and you as well, three of you, and everybody here has crazy careers and jobs, very time consuming, but everybody takes that time, and Matthew mentioned it, time is even more valuable than money sometimes, takes the time out of your career and your busy day to donate and give. And it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a huge commitment, but it's so rewarding. So I am a family law attorney at my father's firm, and I became introduced to an awesome organization in Morristown, JBWS, and they provide a great deal of assistance across all levels to domestic violence survivors and victims. So I got in touch with their organization. They have a safe house where they provide housing to men and women in a safe environment where their children can live with them. And during COVID, actually, my junior women's club, we came up with the idea that, you know, these mothers who are there on Mother's Day have nothing. Right? They wake up in the morning and they're there with their kids, and it's a sad time because they've kind of escaped a household of abuse. So we said, let's give them something to wake up to. So I've done it 3 years in a row now. I've chaired the event where we make Mother's Day gift baskets. We started with, you know, we've delivered between 40 to 50, however many women they have there. And it's a members only event. I get the baskets, our firm donates the baskets and all the wrapping supplies, and our members fill them. And I always say, all right, $30 limit, and every year they go over. I mean, we're talking like hundreds of dollars of gifts in these baskets. And then we hand deliver them to the safe house. And we never get to see pictures because everybody's there under protection. But the reviews back from the people who run the safe house are like, these women come downstairs and their eyes just like well up with tears. They can't believe this is all for them. And we make their kids, we find out how many kids are there, and we give them boxes that they can make cards for their mothers to give to them on Mother's Day too. So that's something that I really enjoy doing. And, a lot of the Thanksgiving food drives and Christmas holiday shopping for underprivileged children and families as well.
That's a beautiful thing. So, Billy, listen, as a father, because I'm a dad, and listening to your son Matthew and your daughter Alexis, how does that make you feel? Tell us about it. Well,
there's a saying that I have, and it fits very much into this, and it says, only if you like perfect. And that's what I think about it. Who's better than this? And if my other three daughters were sitting here with us today, I guarantee you they would be saying the same thing as Alexis is. They all are involved. They all give back. It's wonderful. So how do I feel? I don't know. I'm good. I think I made it. What can I tell you? I think I made it. What more can I tell you? It's the best feeling in the world. And I instill family. And Alexis said, we've always kept, I get a place down the Jersey Shore for the month of August. Big house, sleeps 20. And you know what? We fill it. They're all there the whole month of August. My kids, my grandkids, the in-laws, the son-in-laws, and we all communicate and stay tight and stay together. And it's becoming less of an effort. It's becoming more of just something that happens. So how do I feel? Who's better than me?
Oh, God bless you.
With an exclamation mark next to it. That's the way I feel. Right. It's all good.
Yeah. So, Matthew, it's so fascinating to me how you've been wildly successful in your own career, but you did find the balance. And I always ask folks, because the reason why I love doing the show is I bring wonderful people on, but also maybe it'll light the fire in someone that's tuning in, someone that's listening, someone that maybe is afraid to do something because they don't know what's going to happen. But from your perspective, how's it changed your life that, you're not only successful and you're raising 3 wonderful kids, but you find the time, the balance in life. Why is that important to you?
I guess there's when you say you're successful, I think it's both things. You can have monetary success, and then you can be a spiritual success, or whatever you want to call it. And I think there needs to be a mix, because you can have all the money in the world and do nothing and help no one, and right, 0 times $1 billion is 0. And if you're able to help people and give time, Alexis said it earlier, it's fulfilling, it's rewarding to watch someone come down and see that all those gifts are for them. And you didn't have to buy those gifts. Maybe you put them together. It was your idea that brought it together. There's nothing more rewarding to that. So having a good amount of money to get by and giving 100% or 50% of your time, that whatever amount of money times that amount of time is priceless. So it just makes you feel good. A lot of times you don't even realize you're giving your time. You're fighting for something, you believe in. I remember I just wanted, Stacy was doing this camp, and I just wanted to make sure that the kids had a camp, and I showed up, and Alexis said it's not always the most fun, but when you're doing it and you see all of a sudden your idea turn into this little camp, to them owning the building, to a little fundraiser at the local bar, to renting out the local Bridgeport baseball stadium and having food trucks and distributors coming over from all over the state and little celebrities showing up, and raising all this money for helping the community. There's nothing, you can't put a price tag on that. You don't get anything back other than joy. And my father said earlier, there's a limited amount of time, and the money doesn't go with you, but how you make people feel and your impact on the community will certainly last forever. So, wanting to do both, be successful, but also leave something that's a little more than money, and is super important and really, really rewarding. And I'm hoping we're able to do the same thing with this Haven project here in Pennsylvania. So hopefully that answered your question, but that's the most rewarding thing. You can't put a price tag on how it makes you feel and other people feel, for sure.
No, it's important to lift up the community, no question about it. So, Alexis, from your perspective, you're young, Matthew's young, and you guys have your whole lives in front of you. What are your thoughts about the future now that you have a brother? And it's kind of interesting. He always wished he had a sister.
I didn't know that.
He always wanted a big brother.
Learning things today.
I know Matthew. I haven't met him in person, but he's a strapping, handsome guy, nice-sized guy.
Very tall.
Yeah, it's a tall guy.
I'm only 5 foot. Matthew, how tall are you?
I'm 6 feet, and it's funny. My girlfriend Missy's about the same height as Alexis. So when we go out at they're together, and everyone we look like bookends. So it's certainly funny, but it's it's amazing to have a sister who you can just bounce stuff off of as a person going through similar things and kids, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, so I wanted to explore with Billy and Alexis a little bit about the practice of law, only because it is Father's Day, and my dad was a tremendous trial lawyer. I learned so many things from my dad in the courtroom, but probably more importantly, outside the courtroom. And everybody asked me, Todd, why did you become a lawyer? Why this area of law? And I was like, well, my dad was my hero. I saw my dad do his thing. Like, my dad is a young kid. I used to go with him to work every day, in the break in the summertime. And when I was at break in college and, even in law school, I worked pretty much full time with my dad. And I, in my third year of law school at Seton Hall. And it was very fascinating because in life you go on a journey. So, Alexis, I was curious because obviously you're a great matrimonial lawyer. In your dad's practice, why did you decide to become a lawyer?
Well, I actually didn't want to become a lawyer necessarily. I wanted to go into advertising. But then I did this was supposed to be awesome internship between my junior and senior year of college in a big ad firm in the city. I hated it. So I said, I'm going to take the LSATs. I'm going to go to law school now. So I did. I went to law school, went to Seton Hall Law in Newark. And I came out and I said, okay, I'm going to, the only type of law, if I go into law, would be family law, because that's what my father does. That's what I know. I mean, he would come home at night, every night was like, Dad, what happened at work today? Tell us a great story. Because it's people. It's not, we're not dealing with big corporations. It's like the nitty gritty of human emotion and how to resolve things, and how to, people look at family law and divorce attorneys like the worst people in the world. We're actually helping somebody, all of our clients, through the hardest time in their life. And it goes back to that reward thing, the feeling that you helped someone, and at the end of the case, when, they resolve their differences and you finalize their divorce, you'll get these wonderful, notes, or even just a hug or a letter from a client saying, thank you. You changed my life. You helped me through this. I made it. And for me, it's interesting and rewarding to have a client come to you in the beginning of their divorce, and they're kind of a shriveled up, nothing of themselves. And I say, you could do this. You could do this. We're going to get you through it. And at the end, you're going to be 10 times stronger. And I see the transition as we go through the process. And by the end, they're strong people. They're happier. And, it's always about the kids, though. What can we do to make your children's lives better, get you both through this in one piece? And the reward at the end, and helping people is, I think, why I wanted to go into family law. And then the chance to work with my dad, because we see each other every day. It's great. We work on cases together, and, he taught me. we would go to court together when they had court in person, at least. And it's a great experience. I get to be with my dad every day.
It's a blessing. And
awesome.
I feel the same way. Billy, from your perspective, because I know my dad, my late dad, and on Father's Day, I mentioned I always want to make my dad proud, and I was blessed because my dad said he was proud about me, and it meant the world. From your perspective, it's Father's Day, you're sharing a lot of your own personal journey. Matthew joined us, your wonderful daughter. And from your view as a father, and having your daughter basically following your footsteps, what has that meant to you?
Well, first of all, I think you can understand and see why Alexis is probably the best associate who is now a partner that I've ever had in my 50 years of practicing law. I don't have to say anything more than listen to what she just said, because it's true. When you help somebody with their children, somebody moves out of the state and you go to court and get this child back so dad or mom can be with that child, they're your friends forever, because when you do something for someone's child, they are your lifelong friends and they are grateful. And the reward that you get to be able to do that is unbelievable. It's wonderful. So I'm different than you, where your dad was. My dad was not a lawyer. Okay, my dad was in the carpet business. It was Laufer Carpet out of Newark. So I didn't want to go into the carpet business. Okay, I went to college and then I went to law school, not to become a lawyer. I went to law school. I have a different path than you. I went to law school as opposed to, if I must say, the Vietnam War was hot and heavy at the time, and I really didn't feel like going to Vietnam, so I applied to law school. And I got in and I went to law school. So I got a deferment to go into the Army. Bottom line is, after law school, I went and started practicing with my cousin, who was a very successful attorney that did what you do. He was a big shot personal injury attorney, very successful, but he also did matrimonial law. So I started working for him, and it became to a point where I was getting really good at this matrimonial stuff. I started to love it, just like Alexis is talking about. It was so rewarding to me. So I decided to go out on my own, and lo and behold, I was a divorce attorney. And I've been that for, this is year 50, all right, that I've been a matrimonial lawyer. And I used to do personal injury before I did that. But and I love what I do. And people say to me, Laufer, you're 75 years old. It's enough already. When are you going to stop doing this? You know what? I love it. I love what I do. I like the action. Like Alexis said, every day is like reading it's almost like a sitcom. You know, the stories that you hear, that you think oh my God, I can't hear anything different. And lo and behold, someone comes in and tells you a new story, you know, a new adventure, a new thing, and a new challenge to you. And, look, you can do. Look, I represented my golf pro and I got him I'm not going to mention names, but I got him his kid back. I get free golf lessons now for the rest of my life. I'm only kidding. But my point is you help people like that, and it's just the give back is spectacular. I have no plan to pack it in and retire. Eventually I will, but I have no chance. I love what I do.
You know, there's lawyers I know, Billy and Alexis, practice into their 90s. Now, I have to say,
I probably won't do that. But
he may have been smarter to hang it up, but he loved it. So, you know, Matthew, on Father's Day, any last thoughts you want to tell us about what folks should think about on Father's Day?
Well, real quick before that, I took my LSAT and decided to go into advertising and marketing.
I didn't
know.
We didn't know that.
And I went to Seton Hall as well, but I got my MBA. I didn't go to law school there. So
oh my gosh.
But yeah, I mean, thoughts on Father's Day. Spend time with your children. Enjoy. Time is limited, and you don't know when that time is going to go. And if you need to make up for lost time, certainly do that today, and reach out to your fathers and people that have fathers, and just spend time with the kids. I think it's been a theme throughout the show is, take care of the kids, and then they're the ones that are going to be taking care of you later on, and spend as much time with your family as possible. And if you have any differences with your family, these are the times to try to get past that and move forward from things that may have happened in the past.
No doubt about that. I think that's great advice for all of us. Alexis, on Father's Day, any other last thoughts about, the importance of your dad in your life?
I mean, he knows he's the best. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better father. I'm lucky. And I echo what Matthew said, if you haven't spoken to your father in years or, for whatever reason, life's too short, reach out. There's nothing like family, and just, give your dad a hug.
No doubt about that. Yeah, God bless. And Billy, just briefly for the listeners, for all of us, this Father's Day has been an awesome experience for me to have you on with Matthew and your daughter. This is a beautiful story, but any parting thoughts on the meaning of being a dad for all of us?
Well, I'm getting goosebumps as I'm sitting here listening to my daughter and my son. And do I have to say anything more than listening to what they have just said about me and our families and love and hug your father? For all of you out there, if you have a dad, I don't know what your relationship has been like in the past, but I will tell you, pick up the phone, call your dad, tell him you love him, and integrate it into your family, because the bottom line is, when it's all said and done, that's what it's all about. It's about family, family, and family. Everything becomes less significant. So, and Todd, thank you, buddy. I mean, I really mean it.
Let me just sum up. So, Billy, it means the world you took time out again on Father's Day. Hope you get a hole-in-one later today on the golf course. Alexis,
I already have
so much. Another one, and Matthew, means the world you took time out on Father's Day. For all of us, Father's Day is a special day. I would have to echo everyone. If your dad is alive, go visit your dad if you can. Hug him, kiss him. If he's not in the area, call him on the phone. Tell him how much he means to you. If your dad's in heaven, just reflect on everything your dad's done. And most importantly, if you have children, spend time with your kids. God bless you all, and please tune in next week. Take care.
The Todd Leonard Show is sponsored by the Leonard Foundation, whose mission is to support the children and families who are battling pediatric cancer and those in need of food and assistance, women's shelters, and other important social services in the community. They also proudly support those fighting pancreatic cancer. They feel it's vitally important to help those in need in our amazing community when they need us the most. Please join them in extending a helping hand and go to leonardcharity.org and donate now. Together, we can touch many lives.